Welcome, everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and I know you were all here for another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. And we got a lot to talk about this evening. I got an amazing guest planned, brand new to the show, never been on before, so it'll be amazing to have a conversation with him. And if you hang around for about 10 seconds, I promise we will be right back. And we're back. See, 10 seconds is all it ever takes. You don't have to worry. We're still here, okay? With me this evening, I have the one and only Randy Blasick. Blasick. I hope I didn't butcher that. Blasick.
Don't worry about
it. And Randy was introduced, tagged on a post on LinkedIn. So thank you, Randy, for tagging in and joining us this evening. Why don't you kind of let us know how you're doing and how you got in the industry?
Hey, sure, I'm doing okay. Let's see, got into the industry as a red teamer, like a real hacker, when I was like 13 years old. This is like back in 1994. I did a lot of stuff.
America Online, punters, and IRC chats. That's how you did it.
Yeah. Yes, sir, dude. You got it, man. Yep. And then let's see, in college, I paid some of my way through college making fake IDs in one of the states up in the Northeast. And I quit cold turkey. I was drinking beers at a party and like way away from my college, and someone was like, yeah, dude, like we know this group of people that makes fake IDs, like we'll hook you up, right? And like I knew the ID because I had done it, and I was like, shit. And we were making a lot, so I stopped. I was like, okay, I'm done, and I'm gonna get serious into my actual professional career. So yeah. And then oh, sorry.
It happens to the best of us, man. We all eventually have to, hear something we were doing stupid and be like, shit. You know what? I'm not gonna do that no more.
Yeah. So anyways, professionally, let's see, built a few startups, mostly managed services, worked for a Fortune 100 firm, just as like a, systems manager, like IT manager or whatever. Built a nationwide MSP, did a lot of cybersecurity stuff. I built a big, pretty serious security operations center that serviced some of the largest financial investment firms in the world. We exited to a PE firm about a few years ago. We did everything: GRC, SOC services, IT management, straight up IT management, stuff like that. I think I had my team was like 65 people, something like that. Awesome people, great people. They're still around today. Great firm. Yeah. And then generative AI came out like in 2022. I was working just as a for an XDR firm, and after generative AI came out, like it was like ChatGPT like 3.5 from OpenAI. I've been following those guys for quite a while, back when like Elon Musk was investing in them, so like before they were a household name, just because I'm a nerd. And so like, I don't know, it came out and I was like, I tested it at the time. I was doing global, like what the hell is it, like response RFPs for like global SOC services, so like these 50-page RFPs, and I was kind of like answering them for like most of my job at one of my roles. And I was like, shit, so I tested ChatGPT. We were getting a ton of hits, like way more hits globally to the AI responses than like human responses or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, okay, that proves the theory, right? It can do it. And then I basically left and started building what I'm the founder of today, which is the Compliance Aid. which is like the world's first company built by AI. So I actually built AI agents to build the company. A lot of people are doing that today. It's kind of like a wave, but back in 2022, that really wasn't a thing. And boy, trying to sell AI services back in 2022 is Jesus Christ. It's
It was a
like,
buzzword, man. Nobody honestly, I don't think anybody thought it was going
I
to
know they
take
didn't.
off the way
I
it
know.
has in the short amount of time that it has. Um, Not to say I don't think it was never going to take off. I think
Right.
the rate that it has really kind of changed the game. Like you said, with generative
Yeah.
um, AI agents, things of that nature. It's been crazy to see how we went from Chat GPT basically. That was
Yeah.
one of the first, I'd say, realistic AI models technically that was capable of learning. Um, to now there's huge LLMs and just
Yeah.
everything out there that you know I'm still hesitant to say whether or not the technology is actually learning. But saying that, the capability of agents in some of the different AI infrastructure and LLMs that kind of help those along um, has been crazy to see. Absolutely crazy to see what they're capable of.
Yes.
Do you think that so you are the founder of the compliance aid. You've used AI agents to build this entire thing. I know and have a minor understanding, thanks to Ryan Rosado, who's been on this show before, of
Sure.
LLMs. Do you feel that like certain LLMs help to establish that more than others? Like, is there a differentiation between the different models,
Oh
and
yeah.
how could that really benefit different AI technologies?
Sure. For in the whole LLM world, that's what keeps me up until 2, 3 in the morning. Um, is just trying to keep up with what's coming out weekly, daily. So like last week, for example, we had Chinese-based open source model DeepSeek version 3 come out.
Yeah.
Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro experimental came out, which has a 1 million line incoming token limit, which and with its intellect and reasoning capability, basically puts it up there with like a senior level software engineer. And so when you put that into AI powered IDEs, like Klein, Cursor, Windsurf, RuCode, you name it. Um, the cost of programming software engineering at a senior level is like super cheap, right? So
Right.
so guys like me who are building stuff, um, dude, we're like, you know, our company capability is just exploding, and it's just our speed of which we can implement new things and adjust to the market is just like, I don't know, it's the fastest I've ever seen. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I've built a bunch of GRC stuff like in my past career too, so like I probably, I've definitely seen the difference. It's very cool.
So do
It's
you
fun.
do you with how do you think with that, right? So the compliance aid, your organization is
Yeah.
GRC based, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think that uh, with the AI, with LLMs, do you think it's going to have an effect going forward on, actual GRC positions that are out there? Because if we're I know the big fear behind behind AI and things like that has always been, oh, they're going to replace these jobs, this job, this job, and I have been staunch and 10 toes down on you cannot replace the human element. It
Yeah.
is absolutely impossible to do so. But we see more and more with some of these jobs that is what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Do you feel that with this capability that eventually some of this stuff will take away from that human element and the ability to kind of do things from a junior level?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, I think that um kind of like, to your army days, like it's like it's like a green beret, right? It's a force multiplier. It goes like, goes behind enemy lines. It like, it makes the people in GRC today like really, really, really good and
Right.
at their jobs. They'll be able to write policies 10 times faster. They'll be
Right.
able to do, instead of 10 or 15 assessments a year, 20 assessments a year, and that's like, that's like a long year. They'll be able to do like, 80, 90, 100 assessments, and they're gonna be like, it's not gonna be that hard of a job, right?
Right.
Or maybe 1,000 assessments. Who knows? So I think, but I don't know if it puts people out of a job. That's not really for me to say. I think the AI tech that I'm working on and the AI teams. So like these are like AI agents that collaborate together. Before they work with the human. Um, they're just helping reduce the time an auditor spends doing their everyday job. So
And that's really what I'm looking for, right? It's about the
yeah,
efficiency behind it. So
yeah,
if you can
it-
make your people more efficient, and that's
yeah.
really the answer I'm looking for, is it's about
Okay, cool.
helping the human, right? Helping that human element versus replacing the human element.
Right.
And
No,
and
yeah,
I
it's
think,
not trying to. Yeah.
yeah, and I think,
Or
but and here's a huge but and caveat to that. Any organization out there that's trying to cut costs, is it possible to utilize AI to basically check the box and say they're doing something,
okay,
even though it may not be to the
good.
level that a human could do it?
All right, good question. So first of all, it's at or better than most humans, depending on which vendor you choose. Like we were talking about the different LLM tiers, and some of the models that I just dropped were like, we don't really have the studies out yet, which I'll probably get to later tonight or tomorrow. But we're going to be at really, really high level intellect here. So, um, you know, uh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead. Ugh, it's been look. I'm building, and I'm having late nights. So and I'm drinking,
you're
and I'm
you're
finally
good, man.
relaxing. So
Like I said, I think in my eyes, right, when I look
yeah,
at, and again, I do want to talk more about the LLMs because they are all different. There's a ton of different models out there.
yeah,
But I
there
do kind
is.
of, and actually, this will for those watching, it'll lead into next week's episode where we dig into this more. But I want to, I don't know, something about AI. I think that the like your creation with the compliance aid and a lot of these others, it's meant to enhance, make more efficient, and enable the human element. My
Yep.
fear is, and this is why I say, do you think it'll replace jobs? Is why I asked the question, is because we see a lot of organizations out there today that will do the bare minimum to check the box. So if they
Yeah.
go out there and go,
Oh, I'm
let's
sorry.
say they
No,
go,
okay. Now let me. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, Regardless, I think what happens when we embed AI technology throughout our businesses, it doesn't matter where the AI technology is. There's something called emergent behavior, emergent properties
mhm.
of AI. You guys can check it out or whatever. But like what that really means is like it does something that you didn't expect in a good way. And so the organizations that were kind of cheap and cheesy before on their GRC, I know who they are because I fucking work with hundreds of them in North America. um, Even the shitty AI technology that you embed by nature of the emergent properties, that AI technology is going to teach them in some way that makes their GRC or their cybersecurity hygiene just a little bit better, even if they still be fucking, and even if they still want to be cheap. Seriously, that's so because it's going to educate everybody. It's going to just do something a little bit different, a little bit better,
I get
a
that,
little bit
and I
more.
understand that. I think
Okay, cool.
my worry is that companies are going to use it in lieu of people. So even though the intent behind the creators is to make the people better that are in those
Y-
positions, make the people more efficient,
Yeah.
it is, you know as well as I do, there's a malicious thing that can be turned in, anything can be made malicious. And in regards to employment and the people breaking into this industry, I feel like organizations, unless you're a senior that is basically smarter than the AI at that point, right? Because they've been in the field forever, they know all the regulations, they know all the policies, and can use this to enhance their work. From a junior level, they're like, well, why would I hire a junior when I can just have this AI do the same job?
Yeah.
So it makes it that the barrier to entry becomes a lot harder at that point, because now you got to be a mid level or a senior just to get a job in an industry that used to hire juniors.
Well, okay,
So like,
maybe,
you
maybe,
understand my point
but
on that?
okay, I do. But okay, but hear me out. All right, like, when I was 13 years old, I got into this industry. Right. I
Mhm.
mean, that's because I was naturally drawn to it.
Right.
Like, it just pulled me in. Right. Like, I didn't get to choose or whatever. Maybe, maybe with AI, it just it basically allows the people who want to work or who want to be pulled into the industry or who are natural, and they just want to be into it. Maybe it just allows them to just do like what they love to do, like I'm doing, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe.
I love your explanation about that though, because I had the same thing, right? When I was
Okay,
younger,
cool. Yeah.
growing up, it was the same thing, right? People were like, "How do you know all this?" When I was in like my early 20s and going through army training and stuff like that. Well, when I went in the army, probably would have been, yeah, in my 20s. Um, you know, how do you know how to do all this stuff when I'm going through like SANS courses and hacking and all this stuff? I'm like,
But you're
because
like naturally talented at it,
I
right? And
care.
it's like,
I'm
or you,
passionate about
yeah,
it, and
yeah, and you want to
because
learn. You're like a
I
learner.
do this stuff
Yeah,
outside of work. This is
yeah,
what I do. If work isn't going to let me do it, I'm going to teach myself how to do it. Like,
yeah.
this is, I take time away from my family and friends to be able to learn and better myself. So I think to that point, and what you're getting, it's actually kind of what I've taught my kids. And again, it's more so, what I think I want to, people to understand is, cybersecurity is going to be less reliant on, hey, can you do documentation? And more reliant on, hey, do you know how to utilize AI? Do you know how to
Um,
take this tool and or modify code, whatever,
or what's
work
wrong with this
within the AI?
documentation? What's
Correct.
wrong with this documentation? Or hey, look at this entire completed assessment that we did in like an hour, but like nitpick it a little bit, like critique it, ask it
Right.
a bunch of questions and be like kind of bust its balls a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so, but it did 40 hours worth of human labor, but you're kind of like having fun with it. You're like busting its balls, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you know, shit, I did this assessment, it did 40 hours worth of work in like an hour, but like I kind of busted balls about the AI, about, this particular assessment. It wrote a bunch of policies for me. Yeah, I updated some stuff. But guess what, man? Like in a day or two, I did basically a week or two's worth of a normal work, but I'm less stressed out about it. I'm drinking beers on a Friday,
Yeah. Yeah.
having
And
fun
I
with,
think
with my buddy.
I think that's really what people need to understand is you have to know. I think going forward, cybersecurity is going to have a reliance on understanding, knowing how to utilize,
Yeah.
manipulate, change, modify the AI and the LLMs and the things in the back
Yes.
end versus what we used to do, which was, hey, I need to understand every little DLL and driver and signature in the Windows operating system. We're moving away from that. Even Windows uses AI now. You've got Microsoft that
Yep.
utilizes Copilot. You've got Google that has Gemini. You have,
It,
you know, Apple that now Siri has AI, which is integrated with OpenAI and Chat GPT and things like that. So
yes.
if you can't, if you have this inability or unwillingness, rather, lack of passion to learn the AI aspect of things and how these all operate, it's going to put you behind the eight ball. Which means, as a junior getting in the field, if you don't know how to utilize the AI or modify the AI, or challenge rather the AI, then you're not going to be as well rounded as, say, someone who is just out of college but has written prompts that can get Chat GPT to do things it's not supposed to do. And I've seen people
Right.
do that, that have
I know,
literally
it's
been
so
like,
cool. I know
hey,
they're so talented. Those
we
kids
don't
are. I mean,
save
those
your
people are
data,
great.
but
All right.
then they go out there and they ask it questions that eventually spit out its data.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wait, we did have that. It's like,
Yeah.
so
But like, dude, OSINT hackers, for example, like like really talented OSINT hackers out there, like, dude, they can get you the same data that ChatGPT spits out by
mhm,
accidentally, anyways. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yep.
whatever, man. Like, I was already out there. That's
Well,
what
let's be
it's.
fair. When it comes to breaches these days, all of our information's out there
Oh
anyway.
my god,
That's
yeah,
why I think society
yeah,
has gotten numb to, hey,
dude.
this company's been breached. This company's been breached. This company's been breached. This company's being bought. This company's been breached. And
Yeah.
like at this
Oh my,
point, like,
23andMe. Have you heard about 23andMe? Have you
oh yeah,
guys?
yeah, they went bankrupt and they're selling and they like all this stuff.
I have their thing on my counter right now, that I was gonna do it, but I freaking didn't do. I thank God I
Oh,
don't
I
do it
did it.
now.
I'm in the midst
I
of
wanted to.
downloading and deleting everything.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I was building compliance. I was working my nut. I was working my butt off.
Yeah. Well, just use the other one. It's history.com. You'll be all right. AI skills are going to become a requirement.
Yeah,
Griffin put
yeah,
up. He's absolutely spot on. I think it is.
yeah,
I've actually told my kids that prior to them getting into other interests.
yeah,
When we were talking more hacking and security with them, and me and my sons would discuss it. I told them, I said, you're gonna have to understand AI. Like
yeah,
if you don't delve into this, and I think anybody, even in an engineering aspect, if you don't understand AI, you're going to be behind the eight ball. And it doesn't matter what engineering you're doing, electrical, um, I don't know, they're aeronautical, like all of them. Every engineering aspect is going to have an AI component to it, and I think that understanding what's behind it will go a lot further.
yeah.
So
I think so.
let's talk about these LLMs because the
Okay.
whole topic to the show is the identifying kind of the best LLMs, what's better, what's worse, the good, the
Yep.
bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
So, in your eyes, so what are your thoughts on the different language models and what's out there, what it's capable of, things like that?
Yeah. All right. Check out. It's called Open Router.
Oh, I've seen that.
Uh,
Openrouter.org.
yeah. So, and then check out the rankings. Like, I honestly, dude, because like I'm doing this every day, and like, because I'm trying to be as cutting edge as possible. So my team needs to be as high performing. So I swap out as quick as I can the new technology. So I filter by day. But take a look at the models that are out there today that are the top tokens that are being consumed, and that's your best model at the moment.
Okay, so in your eyes, what has been with the different LLMs, what sets them apart? What have you seen has really driven the differences and the differentiators between them? What
Yeah.
what drives one to be better than another?
Gosh, there's a lot of stuff. I would say intellect. How what's the task you're trying to do? What's the task you're trying to get it to do? And is it intellectually possible of doing that task? Like, how complex is it? And then also the incoming context window limits. Um, you know, uh, Jesus, a year or two ago, they sucked. They were like like a page of data. Now it's like, entire program, entire, tens of spreadsheets, so getting it to do something competently and being able to pass it a whole bunch of data, is like, worlds of difference. So I think it's a combination of those things.
Okay. So would you say that certain LLMs are better at certain tasks than others?
In cybersecurity.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like based on the task,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
SIP,
Yeah.
right? I'm a
Okay.
blue
Yeah.
teamer.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
What
Okay.
LLM would I utilize for my
Yeah.
SIP
Good question.
AI?
Okay. Oh, dude, good question. Okay. Okay. Dude, you're gonna break my heart. Okay. Fuck it. I'm doing it. All right. All right. Open source guys, I'm sorry. I love everybody, dude. I fucking love you all, but they're not. You guys suck at answering cybersecurity specific questions. Nothing open source. Like, and please, that hurts me to fucking say because I love open source. Okay, anything commercial though, you'll be okay. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, but I'm just
Well, I'm the same way. I like I love
dude. I've
security
been doing
onion.
this.
I think security onion is one of the best blue teamer
Yeah.
infrastructures you can use from a blue
Okay.
team perspective, especially at a low cost. But to your point, sometimes there are commercial tools out there that don't require as much on the back end to make it functional and actually work.
Okay, and I'm only saying that because of your GRC background.
Yeah.
All right. Open source red teamers and like pen testers and those friggin' freewheeling dudes, then to me, stay the fuck away from commercial models.
Yeah.
And it's open source all the way. Any open source.
Well,
Any
we've
of
seen
them.
them, right? I think it's so Pat Gorman, who's been on here. I
Okay.
think it's called Pen Test AI, or there's a Chat GPT effectively for
Okay.
pen testers that
Yeah.
will allow you to actually write exploit code via AI.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember what the actual site is. I'll have to ask them.
Okay.
But yeah, like, and it's all open source. Like, so it'll
Yeah.
actually develop code based on what you're asking it to do without yelling at you. Unlike something like a Chat GPT, will be like, nah, I can't do that, homie. Now you can give it the right prompts to make it do it. Like
Yeah.
there's ways around everything,
Oh
of
my
course.
god, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
there is legit AI chatbots out there that their sole purpose is the offensive security side to
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, here's an exploit that can do X, Y, and Z. Now,
Yes.
what I think is going to happen with that, with those open source ones and with everything going on, and with, let's be fair, you have your black, gray, and white hats. I think the white hats, I'd love to say they're going to do enough to be able to send the signatures to like your Microsoft Defender and like these different AV and EDR tools to be like, hey, yeah, catch all these. But I got to be honest. I think with the capabilities of this, they're not
How?
going to have the time, because in the midst of
How?
doing red teams and pen tests and everything
Yeah.
else, your black hats and your gray hats are going to be out there going, wait,
Yeah.
I can write ransomware code with an AI model real quick and go out
Exactly.
there and just get someone to click a link. Fuck it, I'm
Dude,
done.
so from a like AI built my company, right? And
Right.
it's like super fucking cool and all that stuff, right? We have a small amount of team, right? AI writes my code. It's writing code 10, 100x more than what I have, right? And that's going to become the norm. I don't care what anybody's going to
Oh
say,
yeah, it is.
right? And so there you go. To your point, like how do how do you do all that stuff? So,
Even with that, you saw there's a recent exploit out there for even for people that do CI/CD and they do it the right way, right? So they go
yeah,
through things like GitHub Actions and things like that.
yeah,
CodeQL. There's now a way to inject um, exploits and different things into CodeQL. I think, is it CodeQL? It might be something
dude.
else. One of the GitHub Actions. You can inject code into it, which
Li-
then, and this is what people don't understand. They're like, oh, we need to update our systems. We need to do this with Windows. Da, da. No, no, no. You're missing the point. It is actually injecting shit into the software that you are pulling down as it's going through the pipeline. So it's passing that check
yes,
with the malicious code in there.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, listen to this. Okay, all right. So, I have a team of AI agents that communicate with each other. Okay,
Right.
all right. They're up in Azure or like a data center. All right, they have the capability to execute code on demand. Okay, so there's a threat that dudes can like manipulate my agent team and they can like launch code internally, right, and do
Right.
something malicious and right, and nobody can trace it right now because that agent communication right now is like logged. Maybe not, maybe it is because it's so new, but like
Mhm.
from a hacking perspective, dude, like stop that, guys.
Right. Like,
Like stop that right now. Anyways,
I
and
mean,
that could
but
exist
this
right
goes
now.
back to
That's a
everything, right?
thing. That's like a
look
real
at it.
thing right now that people are probably doing.
Look at it from the perspective of, all right, so you grew up a little bit a few years older than I am, but you grew up in the same time frame of Macs can't get viruses, Linux are the most secure, this, that, and the third.
No,
Get
okay.
the fuck out of here.
No,
No,
there was totally ways to hack, but yeah.
oh, dude, there always was. And so
Yeah,
at 16 years
yeah.
old, I had conversations with people when I was selling computers, and they'd be like, "Oh, Macs can't get viruses. I'm gonna get my son a Mac." So I'm like, "No, no, no. Oh, nay, nay. Let me Google something for you real quick." And actually, I don't even know if Google is around. I said, "Let me look something up for you," and it legitimately showed that, yeah, sure, Windows had more at that time. It had more availability for malicious software, so spyware,
Okay.
adware, things
Yeah.
like that. Stuff that logic bomb, things that really were just a nuisance more than anything, right?
Yeah.
You might get porn on every ad, that type of thing. But Mac and Linux, I'm sorry, if you got in, you own the entire system. There was no saving you, no protecting you. The moment
Who?
they got in, they owned it because the version of malware that came out for those systems, and it's still the same to this day, was root access. It
Mhm.
was, I own your entire system, which means if you had a Linux box in your enterprise or you had a Mac box in your enterprise, I don't have to fight through Privesk and everything else. I'm there, homie.
Right.
I
Right.
gained access
Right.
as system, as root, as whatever. Like,
Right.
and people are like, "You're kidding." I'm like, "No." I said the only reason that Windows gets more attention is because Windows has more of the consumer and corporate space. They have more percentage coverage. So why am I going to attack something that has 1% coverage versus something that has 90% coverage? Makes no logical sense, right?
Right.
So when I look at things like that, and now you're looking at AI, and we move that on to AI. Hey, what am I going to attack first? Am I going to go after
AI.
AI agents, which are still, it's
Yep. Of
happening, right? We
course
can
you
find
are.
these 0 days. We know this
Yep.
happens. But between, what was it, SolarWinds and a few others, I'm gonna go after the supply line. I'm going to hit the supply chain, and if I can infect your CI/CD and I can make it think that my code is good when it's malicious, that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm going to go after that so that when you do your pull request, it'll pass everything. I'll inject my code, it'll pass the final checks. Guess what? You deliver this out. Now I have an entire botnet calling out to me.
Okay. So what you're trying to tell me is like something like DeepSeek. Okay. Version 3 just came out this week, open
Mm-hmm.
sourced, MIT licensed. Okay. Comes out of China. Right. And we don't have any good tools right now out there to check AI bias. Right. Because the industry is
No,
moving so fast. Right.
right.
Versus like OpenAI. You're telling me that we don't build some tech stack off of DeepSeek V3 and it's got some weird trigger where all of a sudden like,
Oh,
pops off
you
and like
know it's
some
there.
sort of malicious
Who's going to
thing?
go
I
through?
know, dude. I'll bet it does. Fucking, I mean, sorry.
Who's
I'll bet it
so
does.
look at it this way, right? So of all the AI agents out there, of all the different open source code and open source platforms and everything else that's out there that you can get for free or at minimal cost. Let's talk even at an enterprise level, some of these
Yeah.
AI things that you can buy $1,000.
Dude,
Go for
no.
it. Okay.
Okay, excuse me if I may. Okay, we're U.S. based commercial agents. They're like super secure, vetted products. Earlier this week, we're $3 per million tokens, which was like good U.S. based jobs, good
Yeah.
data center, good energy consumption, U.S. All that fun stuff, right? And they come out China open source and equivalent technology 30 cents per million tokens now. So from my perspective, from a business perspective, what do I do, right? Do I stay with 10 times more expensive or do I shift my costs, right? To 10 times cheaper? Like in like 3 weeks, this happened.
But and here's what people don't, this is, I think
I
this
didn't shift.
is
I didn't shift, but gosh,
so So if I think
people,
about this from a standpoint of business, yes, it makes sense, right? From a
mm-hmm,
business standpoint, I'm going to go with cheaper. I'm going to go. It's going to make me more money, save me money, whatever.
right,
Same concept, same thing. I'm going to do what's better.
right,
But from a logical standpoint, when I think about the globe and when I think about what we are taught in society as a whole and everything going on, I understand the concept of, and let's be fair. right? Half of our imports in the US come from China. You can't pick up a t-shirt half the time without it saying made in China, right? Or made in
Yeah.
Mexico, or made somewhere else.
Yeah.
But from a technology standpoint, and this has been my gripe with DoD, with the government, with everything we buy, right?
Yeah.
Hey, yes, it's assembled in the US, but it's made somewhere else. Same concept as your AI right now. You go to somewhere else because it's cheaper, but what do they have in there? What
Yeah.
code is in there that you have now decided you're
Uh,
going to utilize in your own code
Listen, dude.
that's not
There's
calling home and saying, "Hey, I'm going to take all your
Well, it's
data
not even, dude.
and
It's not
extract."
even calling. It's not even calling home. Okay. I mean, it's got an intellect. It's controlling your local device. Okay.
Mhm.
It's right. I mean, it's doing amazing, intelligent things. Right.
Until it's not.
Untraceable though. Like
Until
you
until
guys,
your
no, dude.
entire
It's
power grid shuts down
no, dude,
because
yeah.
you went to AI
Correct.
until
Well, oh, come on. We need like a tinfoil hat or something. No, I mean, we just got to watch it though, right? Is what you're trying to say. And I think it's super smart. Like you just got to like from a cybersecurity perspective, right? I think I'm probably like one of the most well-versed in AI and cybersecurity at the moment, given my position. Like you just got to be well-versed, and I don't know. Right now, I'm trying to do the good honorable thing, and I'm trying to do the commercial
right.
AI stuff. I'm trying to do US based companies, AWS and Azure, Microsoft's been
Right.
like, dude, I'm not a fanboy of Microsoft, but they've been great in AI for me. So
How would you stack their Copilot up? Because I have
it's
hesitancies
okay,
around
dude.
Microsoft's Copilot, especially with, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna scan your computer, we're gonna do all these different things. Like,
Their group, their team, I know a couple of those guys. I hang out with them a little bit on X. They're good, they're smart, they're competent people. They're a little bit behind cutting edge. But I think they want to be cutting edge, right? But they're intentionally not, probably because like from a GRC perspective,
mm,
it's probably a good idea to not be so cutting edge. So but they're sticking up with the pace of the industry. Like they just put their back end. They just upgraded their back end into a technology called OpenAI's O3 Mini High, which is very, very good.
so are they still
So it's
using
good.
OpenAI? They're still basically using that OpenAI backend.
Yes, they are for now. But listen, okay, from a development perspective, they've got a giant ass ecosystem now
Oh
in
yeah.
their AI foundry, and their models there's like 40, dude. I can barely keep up with them, man. They're popping up
Let's
every
be
day.
fair. It's Microsoft. Do you expect anything less? I mean, I expect
Yeah.
vulnerabilities and I
Oh
expect zero
yeah.
days, but I also expect they're
Yeah.
gonna,
Well, yeah.
pump a ton of money into something and
Yeah.
say
It's where it's at.
we're going, all in, and we're either going to
Mhm.
get, hit the jackpot or we're going to go bankrupt. One of the two. That's kind
Yeah.
of that tends to be how Microsoft does things.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that with the Zune. Let's be fair. They said, "Hey, we're going all in on the Zune," and then Apple iPod won out, and they were like, "All right, we're pulling it. We're done." They did it with the Windows Phone too. Hey, all in on the Windows Phone.
Yeah.
No, this didn't work.
I like that stupid thing. I like that stupid thing, man. That thing was cool.
I think the BlackBerry was better than the Windows Phone.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
be
no,
fair.
that BlackBerry is cool too. Yeah, yeah. I like them all, I guess. I don't know. They were
Yeah,
always
I've
interesting
had every one.
technologies.
I've had
Yeah,
every different type of mobile smartphone or whatever you want to call it. I've had all of them, all the office type
yeah,
devices. Um, but no, I look at these LLMs, I look at the different things, and again, to your point, you always got to be cognizant of what you're using. I become fearful, and again, maybe it's just because of where and how and whatever kind of what's been put out there and how I was raised. But I become very hesitant when it's something like a deep seek that is made and operated and controlled by China to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put that in here. Homie, I don't want my processor made in China, let alone run an entire AI model that is gonna,
dude.
has control over everything.
I know,
Like that
I know.
that's kind of the way I look at it. And people are like, oh well, because of money. And I'm like, oh well,
Yeah,
or you pay the people that are designing the shit here. Like, let's be
yeah,
fair. Like, I get it, we cost more, At least it's staying here for now until they decide to sell it overseas, like Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, man. So I think the question you got to ask when you're implementing AI tech is like, okay, like what country does your core AI technology communicate with?
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
think that's a good. I think that's a good question, man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, it's definitely a good question. I mean, from a GRC perspective, like GDPR, like data sovereignty, and all
Oh, you
those
have
like
to be
fun topics,
cognizant of
dude.
that.
So yeah, dude, yeah. But like, dude, yeah, they should be asking that question. But hopefully people are. But I don't know if they are. I
I
think they're
highly
just so
doubt it, but
like learning it. They're like they're so it's so new to
no.
them.
Well, let's be fair. And I got a question here from Griffin, and
Yeah,
Griffin, we'll get to you in a second minute. Um, but I think that people look at AI, and again, it's like most things, right? So Dell is built in America, Mac is built in America.
yeah,
All I got a freaking net. All
yeah,
these things built in America, but they don't realize that the underlying processors and pieces and things that talk together are built elsewhere. So you've got companies out there that'll be like, oh yeah, I'll buy all this. It's made in America.
yeah,
Same thing with AI, right? So you could sit there, Google could literally go to the deep seek fucking, LLM and go to all their entire backend could be based on a foreign country, but it's a Google company, it's an American company. We're gonna use that one. It's made in America. Like that type of like shit. I'm just like, you don't understand what's going on in the back end. But the military did it for years where they
yeah,
would buy shit. Lenovo
yeah,
had back doors in all of their processors and shit. But
yeah,
because it was made in America, they were like, oh, yeah, we're just going to use all that. It's an American company. And then they find out, hey, this shit's calling home to another country.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it,
dude.
you
It's
have
fucking.
to be cognizant of this stuff.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, yes.
And I think that with AI, that's what we're going to find going
Yeah,
forward is you're going to have
but
companies like Apple, like Google, like Microsoft
yeah,
that eventually it's about making money. And let's be fair, we're a capitalist nation in America. It's all about making fucking money. So if
yeah,
they can find a way to make more, right? Increase their profit and margin and things like that by going to something cheaper but is just as good, we're not worried about what it's actually doing on the back end. We just want to know that it can do what we're doing, if not
yeah,
better.
yeah,
Then we'll pay the 30 cents on the dollar versus the dollar itself.
yeah,
Cool. And then
yeah,
you got companies that'll buy into it and then be like, yeah, I'm using Gemini or I'm using this. And it's like, cool. And then you've got people like yourself or other, red teamers and black hats and things like that. They're like, hey, just for awareness, and it'll come out on like X or LinkedIn or something. So this AI model and this and this is now calling home to all these places because you're a dumbass. Like that's what's going to happen. Like I
No, dude.
legitimately
No.
see that. That's
No,
what's going to happen.
the worst is going to be worse, right? It's going to be put in a product stack, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
it's going to be like put into school, okay? And random intervals when we don't get a chance to see it,
Yep.
and it's going to like persuade somebody maliciously, and then like a group of people or something like that, and then disappear off the
Yeah.
grid because it's so tiny and small where it's insignificant. We're
And
not
it's
really
been
looking at
accepted,
it.
right? It's allowed traffic, it's allowed data, it's
Yeah,
allowed flow. Hey,
yeah,
we bought this. It's all allowed. Everything that it needs to do, you need to put these
yeah.
exceptions in. It needs to be
Maybe,
allowed
yeah,
to flow over the network and do all these things and
yeah,
da 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 da. And so because it's considered permitted, you're not going to get an alert. You're not going to be notified. Guess what? You
yeah.
told it to connect to this domain, and yeah, this domain's good to go. You never said where it's supposed to sit.
Interestingly enough, so I have in my teams, my AI teams, research suggests that if you have a pessimistic team member in the AI team, that you'll increase the overall performance of the output. And so
Nice.
like so I have like a pessimistic cybersecurity expert, and he's like an asshole to the rest of the team. But like, but like, but like AI asshole in the chat logs is so polite. It's like, no, this is very bad work, and it's like it's very stern, but like kind of funny. Like it's still professional, you know. So
I'm
anyway,
gonna be passively aggressive and ask.
that's what it is. It's a fucking corporate passive aggressive asshole to the rest of the team. It drives better
Oh shit!
performance. So
Oh man, that is awesome. I
that's
absolutely love it. So
literally
this is what
what
I'm
it
gonna do.
is.
I got a question here. I
Okay.
want all your thoughts. You're going
Okay.
solo, homie. You're gonna answer this question,
Shit.
and you're gonna
Okay.
let them know what you think. So first, let's do solo layout, and we're gonna put Griffin's question up there. What are your thoughts on the ethics versus pushing the capabilities of AI?
You need to push the capabilities of AI. If we get into an ethics discussion, what's going to happen is an enemy country is going to fucking bury us with like 1,000 really bad AI agents around us that we don't really get a chance to see, and they're all going to do something malicious, whether it's like financial, whether it's like looking at us, analyzing our behaviors on Twitter, social media, financial patterns, geographical patterns through like looking at cookies in our devices. I mean, you name it. Like if it's 1,000 expert level AI agents that are like basically the best cybersecurity experts you've ever seen, right? And there's 1,000 of them watching you. I mean, they'll control you. So like when we get into ethics, like we have to be very, very careful, about ethics versus capabilities. Sorry.
Holy crap! Wow, Mike, why is it not adding me? So no, so here's the thing though. Like I had ethics conversations. Funny enough, right? We came up around the same time. I had ethics conversations even back during the days of Napster and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I always
oh,
ask the
that was
question: if I
cool.
bought it and downloaded it, right? So I bought it first, bought the CD, owned the CD, and then downloaded it. Is it unethical? And they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, you can still be charged. Why? I bought it already. I just
Yeah.
downloaded a digital copy." And it's like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, no. So when I think of ethics and AI and pushing the limits, um, it all depends on who designed the model behind it. Things can be unethical,
Maybe.
but it's all
Yeah.
built with
Maybe.
I think what people forget or don't realize is that AI, every learning model, every LLM, still is going to have the bias of the creator behind it. It's always going to. And so you got to look at what is ethical to them.
How about this? How about this? I'm looking at all of the research on how each of the models are being built just because I'm
Hmm.
a nerd about it. And like, they're not transparent about how these things are being built. Okay. Like, and the industry is moving so quickly. Okay. Like, you know, it's like it's so quickly the prices are changing, like there's
Hmm.
ethics conversations. It's like it's like you're driving a fucking sports car in a 2,000 lane highway that's every other lane is like oncoming traffic, and you're trying to like the game of Frogger trying to make it across. You're
Wow,
like,
wait,
fuck.
wow, wait, wow,
Yeah,
wait. Let me get over
yeah,
there.
with your little AI agent team trying to protect you.
Again, I understand your point, right? Because things are like and we discussed this earlier. I think AI is moving quicker than I've seen a lot of things move. It is one
Yes.
thing, and actually, I think even processors have slowed down, right? Processors, though they've become more efficient, the speed itself, once it got to 3.2 gigahertz, I want to say it was, per core. All they did was add cores. They no longer sped up the processing unit
Yeah.
itself. They just said, "Hey, we're going to add more processing units to this one CPU." So, for years things doubled every year. Like you can count on that. Every year it was going to double. But I think with AI, I think things in LLMs and just everything else, I think it's gone so much quicker. Like Murphy's Law, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Could be something else. I could be forgetting, but it's more than doubling. Like exponentially, this shit is just growing and getting faster and faster and faster. Um, 18 Morris Law. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, William.
Mhm.
But I think it has been I think it's because AI, quantum computing, and everything else, like it's been able to, instead of going by Moore's law of every 12 to 18 months that he's talking about where things double, we've sped that process up now. So now
Yeah.
you're looking at every 3 to 6 months, shit just changes and you got to
Dude,
keep up with it or
dude,
you're behind the eight ball. If it's not
it's
even
like,
quicker than that.
dude, it's like weekly at the moment. I mean, let me put it into perspective, okay? Like 8 weeks ago, I had a context window limit in one of my AI agent team members that was 128K.
Hmm.
Today, it's 1 million. You know,
God.
so and the intellect between the two is like, dramatically better. And that was just a few weeks ago. So um,
That is honestly, it's scary because
yeah,
at what point
yeah,
I think this takes me back though to the point of trying to replace the human mind. Is what I feel like these AI, a lot of the AI is trying to do is replace the human element. It may not be intentional, but it's happening because now when you can think at the speed and operate faster, because for any human, you're going to have to look at something, evaluate it, decipher what it means, go through, correlate everything, get all this information. A computer just operates at light speed; it just goes.
hmm,
And so if you can do that at a speed where it provides value, where it's correct, right? It's no longer giving you false positives, then or false negatives, then now you are replacing that human element that I have stood behind. Because
yeah,
in my eyes, even from a blue teamer's view on things, like you always need that human element to be like, hey, no, this is wrong. Like you should not be blocking this computer or isolating it just because you thought, oh, this might be malicious. So I'm going to isolate this. Like, no, let us evaluate it. Let us figure it out. But you're getting to the point where, and to your point, right, things are moving so quick that eventually it's going to get to the point where it's like, nope, I'm going to isolate it. I'm going to do all these things to do incident response, incident handling. I'm going to kick off all the data. I'm going to extract it all. I'm going to create an image and then go about your merry way. Like, I legitimately think within the next few years, it's going to get to that point of
yeah,
all of your IR, your incident handling, your EDR, and it's going to be the offense then at that point that has to bypass all that, that has to figure out a way to navigate around all of the AI technology.
yeah. I hope so.
Is it actually going to be possible unless you're fighting AI versus AI?
That's what's going to happen. And that's what's scary. And that's, it's, who's
Who can figure the
AI.
best? Who can figure the best LLM that you fucking learn on the
It
fly?
is, and dude, it is pretty close right now, man, between the US and China. It is close.
Yeah,
Weekly,
yeah.
man. Every other week, boom, boom, back and forth.
So, so Chris Cochran and Ronald Eddings a while ago, and Chris is no longer with Hacker Valley Studio, but a while ago when they first stood up one of their chats, I forget what it's called, one of their podcasts and one of their shows, AI came up, and me and Chris were kind of on the same page of you can't replace the human element. But the more I hear about it, the more I learn about it, the more I think about it. I think from a cybersecurity perspective, eventually, not saying right now, not saying in the next 10 years, but there's going to come a time where it's going to be AI versus AI. It's legitimately going to be, robot versus robot, not necessarily, but in code and on the computing system. Um, defend and break into and defend. And I think at that point in time, it's going to become really hard because from a cybersecurity standpoint, they are both sides are outsourcing our job to technology,
Yeah.
and I think even red teamers and black hats are gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna buy this software and say go and just hope it can get through. What are they gonna do at that point other than say enter?
Oh man, they'll be, they're calling it human in the loop. That's the concept. So, and I think it'll be something like, you can get involved as much as you want. Like how deep you want to go. They'll
Yeah.
let you go. They'll let you. I don't know. That's
I think
that's that's my current
well,
thought.
I think from a human perspective, we'll always have a way to weasel our way in, to make your way in, and
Hope so.
I think we will, just because you still have there's always going to be limitations behind what a computer can do, right? Especially when
Yeah.
you're looking at it from a technology standpoint, nothing lasts forever. I can spend 10 grand on a computer today and it'll be out of date in the next 5 to 10 years. Like the hardware is just
Yeah.
going to advance that much. And so I think it's going to be the same thing of, okay, do I want to spend $10 million to replace this machine that's running this AI or this cluster of machines, right? Every 5 years, or do I want to pay a human, pay a person 200 grand a year that's going to cost me, it'll take me, 5 years to hit what this machine is going to cost me to replace, or 10 years, whatever. So I think there's always going to be that point. What I think is going to happen though is kind of like the hospital industry, right? We have people that have like sold um, technology to hospitals and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be around forever. I'll provide all your updates. I'll do all this stuff. And then 2 years down the road, they're out of
They're
business and they
gone.
have no
Yeah.
more updates to give. And now we got Windows XP running on systems
Yeah.
when Windows 11 is out.
Yeah.
And so that's the other piece behind it is you have companies that are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm always going to be in business. An organization is going to go to them, but not have any of the documentation or paperwork of how to keep things updated. And so now they're out of date and going to spend billions of dollars to replace the entire infrastructure.
Yep. Ouch. But
I
yeah.
mean, that's what we're looking at with our critical infrastructure right now.
Okay.
You've got companies that have actually came out and been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all of your IoT and do all of your medical equipment and do all this and da 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 da, and it's gonna cost you $1 billion, but look, it's guaranteed contract. I'm gonna provide you quarterly updates. You're gonna always gonna be, whatever. And now hospitals are looking to replace equipment, or power companies or gas companies, and it's like, oh crap, this company's out of business now. They're not going to replace software. In order for them to replace software, they got to replace the entire freaking computer system, the software, the support, and everything. And so they're charging, millions, if not billions of dollars to replace it all.
Yeah.
And then you're
Well,
like, do I want to do that, or do I want to sit with this system that I just got to isolate and make sure nobody can talk to it from outside?
yeah.
Like, cool, give me a USB port, and then we'll have, you know. We're not going to talk about that.
Oh,
but I think that's really what it's coming to. We're going to have a lot of differences, a lot of changes. AI is moving at a speed that I think we cannot keep up with right now. It's utterly impossible.
it, yeah. Nobody's gonna work as hard as me. Nobody wants to be at like 2 a.m. every day. It's
I
gross.
still don't know why you do it, but hey, you do
Yeah.
you, boo boo. Keep your
Yeah,
business
I
running
know.
and do big things.
I know. I'm trying to be a nerd, man. I'm just liking it. I'm fun.
Dude, I have a coworker that used to stay up late. Like, I'd be getting emails 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Like, homie, go to
Yeah.
bed. I do not want this shit right
I
now.
know, dude. Someday soon, when I conquer the world with my AI agents. Huh.
But look, hey, we are at the top of the hour, or coming to. So
Yeah.
what I always look for, what I always ask from everybody that comes on this show is any advice you can give to people breaking into the industry, new, fresh out of college, and or transitioning careers, right? So if they're coming from being a barista or whatever, right? Marketing,
Yeah.
sales, you name it, coming into cybersecurity, what advice would you give to anybody trying to break in?
Oh my fucking god! First of all, contact me at Blasik Randy on Twitter, LinkedIn, or whatever.
It's all in the description in YouTube, by the way.
Oh, thanks, dude. Follow your heart. Don't let anybody fucking tell you what to do, man. I don't care who they are. They could be the boss, the CEO. They could be the world's best hacker, and they could tell you the thing that you didn't want to hear. But like, if you're in this industry, man, just follow your heart. And like, you're here for a reason. Something told you to be here, okay? And just stay true to that. And if you ever like somebody ever gives you shit or whatever, fucking contact me, man. I'll hang out with you for a few minutes, man.
Love it. Love it. I'm
Yeah.
the same way, man. Like, just fucking
Yeah.
it'll be all right.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much for doing this stuff. I really appreciate it. I know how much hard work it takes to do these kind of things. So I definitely appreciate it.
Definitely, man. And I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
you, and I thank you for coming on.
Thanks. Yeah.
We'll definitely have to talk more.
Okay. Yeah.
But with that being said, look, for everybody out there that's watching this, again, listen to Randy. There's a lot in AI and LLMs and just things you need to learn and understand. And if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, my advice is, understand at least at a bare minimum, understand and comprehend the foundational aspects of AI and large language models and things like that, because a lot of technology is going that way. So from EDR to red teaming to SIM and anything else that you can think of from a security perspective, there is some type of machine learning, behavioral analytics, AI, LLM, something baked into it that you need to be able to understand. So understanding these concepts from a foundational level can do nothing but improve your stance and help you get into that role that you're trying to get. But with that being said, look, it's been an amazing episode. I love you all. You're all my warriors. You're all my family. And we'll be back next week with another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour.